There's a fellow named Joseph Campbell, and Joseph Campbell was an expert in mythology and religion. He taught in Southern California. His number one student was George Lucas from Star Wars. It was like one of his leading students. And Campbell wrote a bunch of books. One of them was The Hero of a Thousand Faces, The Hero's Journey. He defined the hero's journey as the Exodus, the Epiphany, and the Return. The hero sets out on his adventure or her adventure. She or he learns something along the way and then comes back and tells the story of what they've learned. I think the Ultimate Black Belt Test is a journey for the participants where they get to show where the rubber meets the road. And the other thing about the Ultimate Black Belt Test is prior to the UBBT, it was very difficult to go see what people were doing for their black belt tests, because it was very private. Like in my schools, 3rd, 4th, 5th Dan, they all tested privately with a small group of people and a judges panel, and maybe 10 or 15 or 20 people would see it. And we didn't know there was no record of what these people did dietarily or in community service, if they did anything. And prior to the UBBT, there was no place to go really look at how black belts prepared themselves day to day.
Any pain when you're walking?
Nothing. I haven't even taken an Advil today.
That's great.
No, this is my art studio, and I've been playing with, making things. It's a good meditation, and I like martial art not just to be martial, but to have some art in it too. So I just goof around, and mostly of these are linoleum cuts. So,
did you make them yourself?
Yeah, these are all some of the things I've been playing with. And I thought, if we had a few top people who really recorded what they did, and the scope of it, the depth of the training, and how deep they went, and how committed they were to it, it would set a good example. What if what you did for yourself also improved the lives of people thousands of miles away who just by watching you went, ding, I got an idea. Or look what this is doing for him. We're going to do that. And so in this Ultimate Black Belt Test, I often tell the members, I say, listen, you go to your students and you say, I'm going to do this test, and here's all the things I'm going to do. 50,000 push-ups, 50,000 sit-ups, 1,000 rounds of sparring, 1,000 repetitions of a single kata. I'm going to learn a new art. I'm going to study jiu-jitsu, 20 hours with a boxing coach, 1,000 acts of kindness, a day in a wheelchair, a day blind, a day mute, and all these things that we have tasked ourselves to do over the period of a year. But I'm going to hit the wall at some point. Like I'm just going to drop off the face of the earth. Everybody hits the wall. When I hit the wall, watch what I do. And I'll show you how to get through it. And in the end, we want our black belt tests to have people just in awe. What happened was I'd already had both my hips replaced when I was 40. I wore them out in Taekwondo and from kicking. And so I'd had them replaced, and then really they became trouble-free. And just 15 minutes before I broke my femur, I was checking in with an opponent saying, how you doing? How's your body? And he said, well, my knee's a little funky. How's your hips? And I said, no problem. They're pain-free. Nothing. It's like they've never been replaced. So we switch partners, and I'm going with a brown belt. We're in an open guard. I'm working, and I hook his elbow. He grabs my foot. He starts to stand up. I start to stand up. Pop. It just breaks. I didn't have any warning. All of a sudden, my foot's up here by my face. Man, it was excruciating pain. When you break your femur, your hamstring and your quad are so tight that they just, pull in and your bones go askew. I thought I was going to die. I thought broken femur, you slice the femoral artery, you're going to bleed out in, X amount of seconds. So I told everybody, the instructor was there holding my hand. I said, should I die, make sure you tell my children, all of them, that I love them very much. I didn't think I was going to make it. Fortunately, 3 of the guys I were training with, 1 was a nurse and 2 were EMT guys. And so they all went to action, and I got to the hospital, waited about 12 hours for surgery, and then they tore it all open and brought the bone back together and put a longer prosthesis in it, and this is my 3rd hip replacement. but doesn't mean I'm going to stop training.
Can you tell me about the
Yeah, this picture, this is, there's Reagan and BJ Penn and Keenan when he was a white belt. And what happened was I sold my schools in 1993 or 4, and I moved to Hawaii by chance. I had a friend who had a school there who had to have heart surgery. I said, I'll come over and watch the school for a couple months while you recover. I had planned on going to Writers College back east, but when I got to Hawaii, I just couldn't leave. It was so beautiful. And I met somebody, and we moved to the other side of the island from Kona to Hilo, and there was no jiu-jitsu on the island. There was only one blue belt who was a cop way out in this place called Kau. So I put up an ad in Hilo, and I said, any judo guys, first day I arrived, any judo guys, any wrestlers who want to work out, I'm trying to learn jiu-jitsu, so I need some training partners. And BJ Penn and his brothers found it in the local gym. I put it up that very day, and the very day I moved to Hilo, I got a call from his dad and said, my boys are interested in what you're doing. I said, listen, I don't know a lot, but I know some, and I'm looking for some guys to practice what I know, and maybe collectively we'll expand our knowledge. And so I became BJ Penn's first jiu-jitsu instructor. And about a year into training, I realized that he was far beyond my skill level. So I was headed to San Jose to Ernie Reyes' 60th birthday party. And I said, BJ, why don't you come? And so his dad sent him. This is the first time he's ever been in a plane off the islands, right? He's just a kid. And I introduced him to Half Gracie. And Half, then within a 2.5-year period, BJ was the first American ever to win the Brazilian World Championships. And nobody even scored a point on him. And he was a phenom. I had moved back to the mainland since then, and Keenan, after years of being around it, finally started to get the jiu-jitsu bug. He's about 14, and I was having to drive him from my home in the mountains all the way down to Casio Vernix, which is about an hour and a half. I was spending $100 with gas and food each time. And I said, why don't we go back to Hilo, and we'll live right down the street from BJ, and you can train at his academy. And so this picture was our first foray where we went to go check it out, make sure that the jiu-jitsu training was good, and Keenan was very excited. And basically, we relocated back to Hawaii just to help Keenan with his career. And of course, I wanted to learn and get better too, and it was fun to be able to train around BJ. And
he was already black belt, BJ?
BJ got his black belt by that time, yeah.
Cool.
And was already, world champion and fighting in the UFC, and it was his heyday. So it was fun to be around, and Keenan, I think, got really inspired. But Keenan actually quickly outgrew the gym, just the way BJ quickly outgrew my knowledge, and he ended up coming back to the mainland to go pursue more strictly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. And now he lives in San Diego and trains with Andre Gabao and the Atos team. This is a script I had from an ABC TV series for Disney, actually. It was a Disney series. Here I am dressed up for Surf Ninjas with a fellow classmate. We're about to dive through a window in a fight scene. More interesting. Here I am with Rob Schneider. Now, this was in Surf Ninjas, and I didn't recognize Schneider from Saturday Night Live, so I'm sitting around a table with him before we get ready for the stunts, and I said, so are you working stunts or whatever? He said, no, I'm an actor. I didn't even know who he was, but that was fun, and he's a funny guy. Here's a official patch for that I swiped from the film Surf Ninjas.
What does it mean?
It was representative of the bad guy in the film. This was his patch, and I don't know. I think I could sell it for 25 cents on eBay. What do you think?